Hi, my name is Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back, guys. We're back here for another recommendation list, this time foreign horrors. I'm going to talk about foreign horror movies that no one really talks about. Trying to give you guys some kind of hidden gems, some underrated movies, and some wacky ones. These ones are quite dark, so strap in. If you haven't seen these videos before, I've done horror movies that no one talks about. I've done disturbing thrillers, so definitely check that out below. I'll leave a link. There's always a link in my down bar that has recommendation videos, so if you guys are looking for something to watch this weekend and you just want a list of movies and then hear my description on them, figure out which one kind of suits your taste, you can definitely go through them at any time. I'm here to help, guys. Help me help you. If you guys don't know who I am, hi, my name is Emma. I'm also known as Spookyastronauts on YouTube. I do 2 videos every single week talking about horror movies, talking about thrillers, anything dark, disturbing. I do reviews, I do breakdowns, I do interviews once in a while. Anyway, I'd love for you guys to subscribe so you can get some new recommendations every single week. And without further ado, let's jump into some movies that I feel like no one talks about. These are some kind of hidden movies that are not talked about for a couple of reasons. Sometimes because they're too disturbing and sometimes they're just plain too weird. But the first one I want to talk about is a movie that I just think is gold. And we're all missing out on the conversation, and it is Left Bank. How is no one talking about Left Bank? This is a truly unique drama horror unlike anything I've seen. The film follows Marie, a young professional athlete who is forced to take time out from her sport. She then falls into a relationship with a charming yet mysterious man and moves into his isolated apartment while taking time away from her career. Horror fans, if you get into a relationship like this, I hope you can see the red flag. Moves into an isolated apartment with a man that she's just met that seems charming. You're not fooling me, mate. After moving into the apartment, it soon becomes apparent that something is just off. The apartment has a strange history, and Marie begins to have vivid, horrific dreams. And soon, she learns of the previous tenant. This film really took me by surprise, and the best part is the parallel between the horrific themes and her relationship with this strange yet charming man. It's all very metaphorical, and the film itself is just plain different. It doesn't, at first, feel like a horror film at all. You really warm up to the protagonist as if you're watching a drama. But I promise you, there is horror there, and perhaps it's the most shocking kind. The next film I want to talk to you about is The Witch. Not that witch, the South Korean version. Not quite the same though. Not really at all. The Witch Part 1, The Subversion from 2018 is directed by South Korean writer-director Hoon Jung-park. He also co-wrote the screenplay for I Saw the Devil, a much-loved horror action revenge film from 2010. The Witch Part 1 flew right under most people's radars, under the cover of an action mystery. But really, it's a slow-building revenge horror fantasy, and Dami Kim's performance as Ko Ja-yoon is exceptional. The film follows Ko Ja-yoon, a young girl who escapes from a traumatizing past only to find a new home with her adoptive parents on a farm. But as she grows older, she begins to have flashbacks of her past. The film is a long haul, don't get me wrong, but it is one that is worth watching because it does have a good wraparound. Although it is called Part 1, it has a very good ending that makes you feel satisfied, yet you would be interested in watching a second or third, and it's rumored that this is part of a trilogy. So you can still watch it as a standalone film. The film is well made, with great cinematography and color grading. One thing I really appreciated in the film was the varied sets. The budget was not spared as we go from a farmhouse to an inner city and even on a train. They went all out to bring these characters into the real world. If you are into horror fantasy, you may be a fan of this one. I would compare this one to Stranger Things meets Confession. Next, let's get dark and let's talk about Strangled. True crime fans out there, this one's for you. Strangled is a 2016 Hungarian crime drama horror, and it's based on a true story. The film is set in 1960 and follows a string of murders that shook a small town. The film is about a tangled web that involves a wrongly accused man, law enforcement under pressure, and the ones left behind. This film is beautifully made, but also reveals a grim and unsettling tale. Strangled, like its title, does not hold back. The producer of the film was inspired to make it after deep diving into the terrifying real-life murders it's based on. And it's said that they did lengthy research on the case to ensure that the result was as trustworthy as possible. The conclusion is an extremely graphic and disturbing piece. Although the drama does feel intense at times, the dark moments feel very realistic, and in turn, it's just a heartbreaking, well-made film. If you're into horror movies that are based on true stories, this one may be for you, and I can tell you, no one talks about it, and it is very underrated. But the next one, it's dark. Dark, but for another reason. It's Debunker. This one is out of control. Holy crap, when I first saw the cover for twisted drama horror Debunker, I had no idea what to expect. People said it was dark, strange, and disturbing, and I have to agree, but it was never in the way I thought it would be. Debunker is a 2015 German horror, which is usually filed under the comedy section. I mean, there are intentionally awkward comedic moments, but you have to have a pretty sick sense of humor to think that this was a good time. The film is about an isolated bunker in the middle of the woods that is home to a couple known only as mother and father, and of course, their 8-year-old boy, Claus. They are visited by a boarder who is interested in living in their home while he concentrates on his work. But mother and father have different plans for him, and he learns the truth behind who is really in charge of the household. And no, I have not given it away. It is not Claus who is in charge. I can guarantee you this film is so unexpected and so unpredictable in the most bizarre way. There is one huge looming element that takes you by surprise, and even though this film is not the most polished, you will never forget it. People have tried to make sense of this madness, claiming that the movie is a metaphor for the education system. There is a lot to unpack in this film, and it has a short runtime, and although some of it feels clunky and messy, other moments will leave you wanting a moment to catch your breath. If any of you have seen Debunker, I would love to know your theories down below and what you thought of it. I'm sure when you see the poster, you're just triggered. It's something you don't forget, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. It's obviously one that people don't talk about, and I think it's mainly because people don't know where to start. The last film I want to talk to you guys about today is Severance. Okay, this is not a foreign language film, but it is a British-German production, and it also takes place in Hungary, which is great because it's actually filmed on location. The film is a dry, witty comedy horror that goes from sarcasm to pure torture. It really has it all, and it's actually a pretty good time. The film is about a company team building retreat gone wrong. When the team heads to a rural cabin for some team bonding, they end up in a nightmare where they are hunted one by one. The first half of Severance is surprisingly feel good. It allows the audience to sink into the normal horror cliches. But then things take a sharp turn and it turns into a bloody, gory slasher and a fight for survival. I admire the depth and originality, and if you like films like Mayhem and The Belko Experiment, you may be satisfied by this one. It's a horror comedy that does not get the praise it deserves. Let me know how many of these you have seen. Have you seen them all? Let me know your thoughts on them down below. And if you have any foreign horrors that you feel like no one talks about, I'd love to know what they are in the comments. I do have a very lengthy foreign horror to watch list. Some of them are just really hard to track down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, subscribe if you haven't. If you've watched more than 2 or 3 of my videos, what are you doing? I can be in your subscription box every single week, harassing you with new recommendations. I can do it. I'll be there. I'll talk to you guys very soon. I hope you're having a great day. Stay spooky. Bye.